Give us a thumbs up, folks. Give us the hearts. Let everybody else know that you're on here too. All right? Make sure you share the show with everybody you know. Good to see you. All right, so some of you know that I am going to be speaking in New York City to a joint UN State Department event. Actually, I'm going to be doing it the very next day after the marathon. So I'm going to do the marathon, and I'm literally going to finish, grab a bite to eat, and then jump on a plane to New York City. And the very next day, I'm going to be speaking to this New York event, which I said is the United Nations State Department event. And what I'm going to be speaking on is the de-radicalization of extreme violent groups. I'm going to be speaking about how to de-radicalize individuals who are part of those groups. Right? Pretty neat stuff. Now, I'm telling you that because it's actually in line with the subject that I want to talk to you about, is why are you losing your motivation? Why are you losing inspiration? And why is that overall screwing up your success? And what can you do about it? My wife, my beloved bride, really likes to have things locked up. In fact, I'm probably in shit when I get back because I just realized I left the front door unlocked as I left to come out. So my wife likes to have things locked up. You know, when she's in the house alone, she wants the house locked. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. Some of you might go, well, of course, right? That's fine. When I met my wife, I did not lock anything. When we met, at that time I owned a BMW, and in the 2 years that I owned it, I never locked it, not once. Not outside of my door, not as I parked it in some shady parts of the city. I never locked it anywhere. It just didn't seem like the thing to do. Now, let me be true. Actually, that's not entirely true. The entire truth is that every now and then I'd have an intuition to lock my vehicle, and I would lock my vehicle. But most of the time, I didn't lock it. And like I said, I parked it in some shady areas. At that time, when we met, I just moved. So before that, I lived in a 5-bedroom house on my own. I never locked that either. I moved into an apartment. Yeah, Kevin says, good to know. Right. Well, things have changed, mate, and I'll explain that in a minute. I moved into an apartment, I never locked that. And one night, crackheads like Hondas. One night, my then girlfriend, who is now my wife, stayed over, and we're laid in bed together. I guess around 4 in the morning. Of course, I'm fast asleep. And Ren says that she can hear me rustling around in the room and wondered what I was doing. And as she was about to open her eyes, she could feel the weight of my arm leaning over her. So how was I in 2 places at once? And the answer, of course, was I was not. I was in bed next to her. She let out a huge scream because there was actually a guy in our room, in my bedroom, who was ruffling around in my change jar that I kept sort of on the side there. And of course that freaked her the hell out, and that was when it was decided that I might want to start locking things up a little bit. You know, there's an ensuing story there of her screaming, me jumping out of bed, butt naked, chasing this guy. Remember, I'm in an apartment building, chasing this guy out of my apartment, running down the stairs butt naked and out into the hallway, out into the street, completely naked. I think the guy took a left turn somewhere and I missed him. It was not Tony Cohen, despite the rumors. It was not Tony Cohen I was chasing, but it might have been some other bloke from the area him and I come from. So it was at that point that we decided that things should get locked up. Now, we've been together 20 years, my wife and I. We've been together 20 years. It is still not my nature to lock shit. It is not my nature. It's not what I do. But through several conversations, I have come to understand and respect that it's a safety issue for my wife. That Ren does not feel safe if things are not locked up a bit, so there's a need for me to lock things up. Okay. So, I'm telling you about this because I want you to see how this ties into how you might be screwing up your motivation, your inspiration, and even your overall success. In the 20 years that we've been together, you can imagine that I got it. I got that it was important to her to have things locked up, so I locked things up. I would lock them up. And you can imagine how many times, so what is it, 365 days a year, times 20 years, minus the times that I'm away, that I'm speaking in another part of the world or another part of the country or whatever it might be. You can imagine how many days that is. You can imagine how many times I have locked the door as I've gone out. Now one day, at the last place we were living, which was out in the suburbs there, we led this 5-bedroom house out there. We were living in this house, and the garage was sort of the place we used to mainly go in and out of. And in the garage was about 100 grams worth of equipment that was used for videos, for stage, for all kinds of stuff. And to be honest with you, I would leave that open a lot. I would just pull the car out, drive away, and leave the full double garage open, often with another car in there, and definitely with a lot of equipment in there. Fortunately, it was a very safe area, and nothing was ever nicked, nothing at all. And pretty much Ren was good with that. She, not good. She was less upset about those kinds of things. But what would upset her is, on occasion, I would leave those doors open while she was upstairs, maybe in the bathtub or something like that. And I would come home and she'd be really upset because I had endangered her safety. And to be totally clear, she had every right to be upset at me endangering her safety. Absolutely every possible right to be upset at me endangering her safety. But then one day we sat down and we talked about this. And, she really wanted me to get how important this was to her. And it is. And I get it. I do. I genuinely get it. That she needs to feel safe. Of course she does. But my question to her was this. I left it unlocked. I left it open. That is true. But here's the question. How many times have I closed it? How many times have I locked the door behind me? How many times have I remembered to do the thing that was not part of my nature? How many times have I remembered to lock the door? That's the question. So 365 times 20 minus the times I was away. I don't know what that number is, but it's a fucking lot. How many times did I remember to lock the door? Because if the focus is only on when I didn't, and it's important that I didn't because it endangered my wife's safety, that is important. We're not taking anything away from that. But it's just as important to recognize how many times I did get it right. How many times I did fulfill my word. Now here's the point. Here's why I want to make this clear to you. I told you at the beginning of this broadcast that I'm going to be speaking in New York, and I'm going to be speaking at this de-radicalization, talking about extreme violent groups and the importance of de-radicalizing those members. But part of what my talk is going to be about is the fact that maybe shit's not as bad as we're told it is. I mean, when you turn on the news, how much news is good news? You know what? Probably not much. If it's 10%, that would be massive. It's probably more like 1% of the news is the good news. The rest of it is, if it bleeds, it leads. If somebody's done a shooting, then we're going to cover that for 14 hours. We're going to bombard you with all that. And here's the thing I want you to grasp, is the mind works in absolutes. The mind works in absolutes. It's right, wrong, yes, no, black, white. That is how the mind works. And it doesn't naturally go towards the middle. And as the Buddha said, it is the middle path. The middle is always why you've got to go. The middle is where you got to go. But the mind wants to go to the extremes. It doesn't want to see the other side. So when you're getting the news about all this, you know, the mass shootings and the terrorists and the police killing black people, or some people reacting to that and killing cops, those things are true. Let's not take anything away for a moment. Those things are absolutely true. They are definitely happening, but they're not the only thing that are happening. We're not seeing all the cops who are making a great difference in black communities, who are really friendly and helping and being there of service. We're not seeing the black people who are peaceful. We're not seeing the Muslims who are protesting against ISIS. We're not noticing that actually there is more violent, radical behavior from right-wing groups than there is from terrorists. Do you know that? Radical right-wing violence is far greater, and up until Sandy Hook it was far, far greater. It's kind of caught up because of the numbers of mass shootings, but generally speaking, as in events that are happening, there are far more people die in car accidents every year than die because of crazy jihadists. But we don't notice these things. So here's what is destroying your motivation, your inspiration, and your overall success. You're spending a ton of time noticing what you got wrong rather than what you got right. You've got to get focused on what it is you did right. You've got to pay attention to all the things you got right. You've got to train your brain to go back to, hold on, okay, this is a screw up, I blew this, fine, but what did you do right? How many things did you get right? How many things did you actually do the right way? So you've got to bring your mind back. This is a really important thing. If you want to keep your motivation up, if you want to keep your inspiration up, you've got to notice your successes. And here's the thing, we live in a society where we've been trained with this Judeo-Christian idea called humble. You remember that? Humble. You've got to be humble. And if you're not humble, you're wrong. Well, let me just explain this to you. First of all, we don't understand what humble means. If you actually find the root of that word, it's an Aramaic word, and in the Aramaic word, humble means God first, or the divine first. So what does that mean? Well, when people say to you, you're not being humble, and let's say you are a writer, let's say you are somebody who dances, let's say you are somebody who writes code, right? And you are frickin' brilliant at it. I mean, you are the best. And somebody says to you, how good are you at that? And then you answer that because you've been trained to be all kind of humble, and you say things like, oh, well, I'm pretty good. That is not humble. If you look at the root of the word, it's actually the opposite to humble. So if you say to me, Dove, are you a good speaker? I will tell you, no, I'm fucking awesome. And people say, oh, that's very humble of you, and they say it sarcastically. But it actually is humble, and I'll tell you why. Because humble means the divine first. I'm a great speaker because I get out of the fucking way. I get my ego mind out of the way. And by the way, when my ego mind is not out of the way, I'm not so great. But when I get the ego mind off to the side, then I'm spectacular because I'm letting the divine come first. And actually, when somebody says to me, you're a great speaker, if I was to give it the Judeo-Christian understanding of humble, say, oh, I'm okay, I'm actually disrespecting that divine force that flows through me. I'm actually doing the very opposite of being humble. So you have to own that. So this is a key, this is a great key for you to keep up your motivation, to keep up your inspiration, is to recognize and celebrate your successes. We are trained to be humble, and we're trained to celebrate our fucking failures. Think about it. When things go wrong, what do? You phone your friend, oh my God, it went down the toilet, oh my God, this is so bad. Right? If you agree with this, give me the thumbs up. If you're getting this, give me the thumbs up, give me the hearts, give me whatever it is. If this is resonating with you, give me those signals. Because this is not as two-way as I'd love it to be. So if this is resonating with you, give me some signals here, okay? If this is ringing the bells for you. We live in a society that has trained us to celebrate our successes, our failures rather than our successes. What I mean by that is to celebrate, is to share with others. So shit goes down, shit goes wrong, you phone everybody, oh my God, I've done it, I blew it, whatever it is. But when things go right and you have all kinds of success, what do? Oh, well, you know, I won't really talk about it. I'll play it down. I'll be humble. If you want to really get over losing your inspiration, if you want to get over losing your motivation, if you want to really build your successes, you have got to celebrate your successes. Yes, you have to be concerned about the things that you're doing wrong, but you also have to pay attention to the things that you are doing right. You've got to pay a ton of attention to the things that you're doing right. You've got to shift your resonance of your mind to what you're doing right. You've got to get your focus on those kinds of things. How many things did you get right at this time of the day already today? How many things did you get right? Did you get out of bed instead of staying in bed? Great! Celebrate that. Did you do some online work and get your message out there? Because yesterday's message was get out there. Stop freaking hiding. Share your gifts with the world. Did you do that today? That's something you did right. And did you fuck up something else? Okay, note that too. Pay attention to that. But pay attention to what you got right. Pay attention to what you did right. Because that's how you get success. Success is built on success. It's not built on failure. Yes, you've got to fail. That's part of it. It's important. But fail faster. What does that mean? It means you fail, you get going, you do the next thing. How do you do that? By saying, well, what did I do right? Yes, I got to learn from what I did wrong, what didn't work, because it's not failure if you learn something, but you've got to actually look for what did you get right, what did you celebrate, and how can you celebrate what you got right? How can you celebrate all the great things that you did? It's time, folks. It's time to start celebrating your successes. Is this making sense for you? Let me know. Send me the signals. You know what to do. Thumbs up, hearts, whatever it is. If this is resonating with you, let me know. I want to know if you get this. Am I talking to myself and it's not making any sense? And I'm just a ranting lunatic in the background. Which may be the case. Good to see your signals. That's good. Okay. Lisa says, I gave my children a great packed lunch today. I'm fucking awesome. Yes, you are, girl. Come on, somebody else, tell me a couple of things you did right today, things that you need to celebrate. And by the way, this is the other thing. We think it's only okay to celebrate the things that we did that were massive. And thank you, Lisa, for saying that, because no. Success is built on success. Celebrate the small stuff. Celebrate the stuff that you did. Write it in here. Tell me something you did, big or small, that you could actually celebrate. Let's have the true meaning of humble, which is not exactly, it's exactly the opposite of what you think it is. Tell me something you did right today. Come on, put it down. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to sit here all freaking day if I need to. I want to know from you. Tell me something that you can celebrate, something you did right today. What was it? Lisa packed a great lunch for her kids. That is amazing. Fabulous. Now, somebody else, tell me some more stuff that you did right. I wiped my own ass today. Very good. Yes, you are awesome, Lisa. You know what? This right here made flyers for a workshop. Fantastic. That is great. Well done, William. I'm sitting in my comfy chair listening and watching to you. Thank you. Okay, Ernie, if that's what adds to your success, that's great. Got up at 6:30. This is from Kevin. Got up at 6:30 to get my girlfriend coffee before an important business call she had. Fantastic, mate. This is awesome. Come on, tell me some more. This is great. You see, this is the thing. Success is built on success. And so often, you know, there's a lot of people who are actually sitting here watching this in the background who are not putting down what their success is. Why? Because that fucking conditioning got inside of your head. It got inside of your head and said, well, you can only celebrate the very big things, and then you've got to be humble about it, right? I made a nice bowl of oatmeal. Good. Anything. I don't care what it is. Anything that was in the right direction. So this is the thing. If you have a GPS system in your vehicle, in that GPS, what happens when you take a wrong turn? It tells you where to go. It tells you to take the wrong turn. It doesn't say, oh, that's it, you're blown it now, I'm going to turn off. You imagine that? You're driving down the road, you've got your GPS on, and then it turns off. Because, oh no, you took a wrong turn, I'm sorry, that's it, I'm done. I'm not helping you anymore, I'm done. Of course it doesn't do that. Of course it does not do that. What does it do? It redirects you. It shows you a new way. It doesn't say you blew the whole thing. It doesn't do that. So this is what you got to do with yourself. This is your GPS. Karen says, I contacted my ex in trouble to reach out to help. Fabulous. Lisa says, I rocked my radio show today. Fabulous. Kevin says, I locked my door. Asshole. Thank you. Whatever success is for you. Right? Celebrate the successes. You've got to notice everything. You've got to notice all the good stuff. I get it. I know, like, sometimes it feels like you get punched in the nose by life, and it can be really tough. But you know, the only way you're going to get up is by celebrating your successes. And you can't celebrate them if you can't recognize them. And they don't have to be huge. They don't have to be massive. They really don't. So I had meetings already this morning. I got a bunch more meetings coming up. And I really wanted to, I was thinking about this today, and I thought, you know, I really got to share this with you guys. It's really important. Linda says, I took myself out for lunch while the jeweler changed the battery in my watch. And I started my packing today, ready for a move to the house. Fantastic. Awesome. Steve says, I had a healthy fruit shake for breakfast. See, this is the thing. Success is built on success. And you've got to know every single success. I would highly recommend that you get yourself a success journal. And that every day, like, carry it with you. You know, you can even do it on your phone. But just write down the little successes. I went for a walk. You know, instead of staying sedentary. Most of us are too sedentary. You know, I slept, and I actually went to bed at a reasonable hour, and I slept a good solid 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever hours it was for you that you needed. Like, take a look at the things you're doing that are actually moving you in the right direction. Remember, the GPS doesn't turn off when you get in the wrong direction. It redirects you. And that's what noticing and celebrating the successes does. Yes, you've got to recognize the failures of things that don't work so that you can shift and grow. But that is not a reason to quit. And if you want to get your motivation, you want to get your inspiration, you want to really grow in your success, then you've got to notice your success. Lisa says, I didn't tell someone to fuck off today. Well, the day is young, girl. The day is young. Karen says, woke up to water 10 ounces a day. Went back on treadmill. Thank you for the kick in the ass. Fantastic. So, like, let's just think about that for a minute. What are your successes for your rituals? What are your so? See, I believe that success and failure are rituals. So, what are the rituals that you did? 100 ounces, Karen says. Okay. Thank you. So, what are your rituals? What are the rituals you do that move you towards success every day? Because I think, for me, I'm a high creative individual. That's why I'm so prolific and I come out and do these videos, and I've always got new material because my head's full of this stuff all the time. But I also know that I need certain rituals, certain structure that helps me, right? So, for instance, every morning I have a ritual. So what's my ritual? Well, my ritual is that the first thing I do is I get up in the morning and I drink a drink that removes inflammation from my system. I drink an 8-ounce glass of water with about a quarter cup of apple cider vinegar in it, turmeric, cayenne pepper, some pink Himalayan salt, and a little bit of black pepper. And I mix that together. It tastes disgusting, by the way. I really dislike it. But I have that, and this is important, right? I dislike it, but I know it's what I need to do to keep my system to keep the inflammation down, so I have that. That's part of my thing. Unlike Lisa, who starts the day with a good glass of vodka. Thank you for that. You could add vodka to that drink, but I'm not sure that that would work. So that's that's the first part of my ritual. Then I drink 1.5 liters of water. That's the next thing I do, right? That's not true. In between the first drink and the 1.5 liters of water, I meditate. Sometimes for 10, sometimes for 30 minutes, but somewhere in there, right? I do that. Then I drink the 1.5 liters of water, and then usually I read. I usually read for at least 30 minutes. That's the beginning of my day. That's my ritual to set me up for success. Because if I blow the rest of the day, I can at least celebrate that I did those things. I can celebrate that I got onto the right track. Okay, so here, again, I just want to give you this before I sign off. You got to celebrate your successes. You got to notice what you did right. And yeah, you did some things wrong, but notice what you did right. Learn from what didn't work, but notice what you did right. Let's see what Kevin says here. Let's read some of these, okay? Boom, you first. Yes, thank you, Karen. Kevin says, when I go out, I make a point of smiling and saying hello to as many strangers as I can. It's a habit, and it has a quota. That is awesome, man. I love that. That's great. Lisa says, and after Dove's daily ritual drink, it's a live stream from the bathroom. It could be. It could be. Hey, how about this, Lisa? On your list, made Dove laugh. You definitely did that go. Like, really get focused on your successes, folks. Honestly, really. Pay attention to your successes. Notice your successes. There's always going to be things. There's always going to be society. There's going to be situations. There's going to be the news. There's going to be all those things to tell you what's wrong. Listen, the world looks like it's going down the toilet, like it's hell in a handbasket. It's not true. It's not true. Don't believe the hype. It's a sequel. It's just nonsense. It's more of the same old shit over and over again. Don't believe the people who tell you you're failing. Notice how you're succeeding. This is going to make a massive difference to you. I promise you. As always, if this has been useful, valuable to you, please hit share and share it with other people. If other people need this, then share it with them. You've got to get this out there. This is, again, don't be greedy. Don't hoard the information. Share the message with other people who you think it could really add value to. Let them have some of this. Let them get some of it inside. Let them shift. Okay? So please hit share. And again, if you want to know about the marathon broadcast that I'm going to be doing on the 21st, I think it is, please get over to Dove Baron Leadership. Click like the page, and then on the events you'll see, click on that, and we need to know that you're actually going to be there for that 12-hour broadcast, so get over there, do that. I'm very excited about sharing this with you because the whole show is going to be about me answering your questions on whatever it is you want. So we're going to be monitoring it and answering all your questions. Thanks, everybody, for all the hearts and the thumbs up. This is great. I love it when you do that. Please do that. That's fantastic. That's so cool, right? Thank you for sharing the message. I needed this big time. Thank you. You're very welcome, Ernie. It's really good to know. Again, this is now going on my success list that I had this impact. So Karen's asking, when is the marathon? Go to Dove Baron Leadership, like the page, look at events, and it'll take you directly to that page, and it'll show you when it is, what the times are, and all those kinds of things. All right, so that everybody gets the access, and I'll be answering any questions that you have. We'll be going into why I am out to assassinate the keynote. I'm going to kill the keynote when I think keynotes are a waste of time, and actually I have to really give people what it is they really want, which is what I'm all about for you. All right, so Dove Baron, Full Monty Leadership, and I'm going to challenge you to stay curious about all the things you're doing right. Stay curious about how you can share that with others to inspire them to look at the small compounded successes, because that's all it is, right? To bring yourself back to that. What about reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill? Yeah, it's a great book. If that's your success today, great. I read it 40 years ago. Yes, that long ago. I am that old. if that's useful to you, read it. Read any books. If you're reading great books and feeding your mind, that's a success. Any book, whatever book it is. There's a book called Don't Read This, Your Ego Won't Like It. Some bloke, I don't know where he's from, wrote that. It's a good book. I suggest that you read that one. I think I know the author quite personally. Lisa says Dove's schedule will tell you when Dove is on the Ken. That is what it won't tell you, but that actually is in my schedule, believe it or not. All right, so Dove Baron, Full Monty Leadership. Share the show with everybody you know. Let everybody know that if they got value from if you got value from this, let them have it. Really, let's not hoard. Let's get the message out there. All right, guys. Thank you all. Celebrate your successes today, please. You know what? Even as we go offline here, maybe you're watching this later. Put in what was your successes today. Put them in there. Okay? Put your successes in these comments. You know what? Give yourself permission to share your success. Right? In fact, how about this? Here's a challenge for you. Share this show with everybody you know. Share this show with your friends. Put it on your page, whatever it is. But in it, put, here's my successes for today. Right? Here's my successes for today. Put that in there. People are talking about Bob Proctor. Look on my own page, you'll see photos of me hanging out with Bob. He actually endorsed my first novel that I wrote in '94. Good guy, lots of good guys, and yes, he's actually from Ontario, so you could probably pop in and knock on his door, Lisa. I wouldn't put it past you. You are a hustler. All right, girls and boys, thank you very much. It's been an honor to serve you. Dove Baron, Full Monty Leadership. Stay curious, my friends. Stay curious about how fucking amazing you are, the difference you make, and how closer you are to your dreams, to your goals every single day. Celebrate every little success. I love you. I celebrate you. You are magnificent. Have an awesome, rocking day. Until next time, Dove Baron, out.